Coming up on Mountain News this morning, we'll show you how one couple here in Hazard spent their Memorial Day honoring those who have made the ultimate sacrifice for our country. And we show you how Memorial Day events at Camp Nelson looked different this year thanks to COVID-19.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning, I'm Lacey Roberts, and thank you for joining us on Mountain News This Morning. Today is Tuesday, May 26th, as we like to call it, Monday 2.0, and it's looking to shape up to be a gorgeous day outside like it was yesterday, except for that humidity that it's going to bring with it. And let's bring in Brandon Robinson to talk about that and what we can expect for the rest of the week.
Summer preview, Lacey. That's what I've been calling it here the last few days because the sun brings the humidity and it's just moist in the air right now. But if we take a look at US 119 up on top of Whitesburg Pine Mountain this morning, things are fairly quiet up there. Some fog is the big issue we're seeing this morning, and especially in parts of the area. So be careful that if you're traveling this morning headed back to work. And we're looking at temperatures running between 59 in Jonesville and in Somerset, Middlesboro, getting close there, in low to mid 60s up toward most of the region there, 67 Jackson, Hazard, the warmest spots in the region. So that's a few degrees cooler than this time yesterday in some spots, a few degrees warmer in some spots than it was this time yesterday. So kind of a balance there. Iced coffee type morning. And on the coffee meter, no hot coffee needed today unless you just need hot coffee to get you going. I always drink hot coffee here at the house in the morning. 83, your forecast. I may have a couple of degrees warmer. We got 2 degrees above the forecast yesterday. So we'll see when that rain hits, which will be back around later this afternoon in those in the form of scattered showers and storms and some high water issues again possible for some localized areas. Rest of the forecast on the way here in just a little bit. Lacey.
Thank you, Brandon. Sunday's heavy rain caused flash flooding and damage in several counties. In Leslie County, many people are also still recovering from damage left behind by high water earlier this year. I talked with one homeowner who says it was even worse this time around.
It's been over 30 years since it's been this bad.
Lois Valentine has lived in this home.
I'm 82-year-old now.
For more than 4 decades.
Garbage bins are gone, our mailboxes are gone.
Heavy rain Sunday night led to massive property damage right in front of her Leslie County home.
When I walked out, it was up halfway up my calves and my legs.
This bridge, Valentine's only way out, washed away.
I couldn't get out of my yard. And I still haven't tried it.
John Newell, District 4 magistrate, patches Valentine's driveway himself.
A lot of our crew is on vacation, so we kind of have a skeleton crew.
Working diligently.
One of the biggest things is making sure everybody's okay. And in this situation, no lives were taken, no injuries.
Neighbors unable to leave home.
You can go on up and out through another way, but traffic can't get through.
Some people were literally stranded.
Neighbors offering a helping hand.
One thing about Leslie County, positive thing is neighbors helping neighbors, people helping people. They see a need, they don't care, they jump in and help.
No matter what the circumstance. In Leslie County, Lacey Roberts, WYMT Mountain News. Newell says around 30 homes had significant damage to their properties. And many people are getting out and enjoying the outdoors now that hiking trails are starting to open back up. And as you hit the trail, there are some important safety precautions to keep in mind. As always, make sure you pack water and snacks, but also any medication you need if you were to get stuck for an extended period of time. Make sure you know how long the trail is and have a way to alert people if you're in trouble.
Whistle while you walk. That is my biggest thing. Now I see people out when I'm out walking around or something, the trails will go, hey, we got our whistles. So that's awesome because they have learned 3 times means you're in distress. Blow it, then blow it again, and we can hear you.
And after you do that, stay in one place. Search and rescue will make a plan to get to you once they are alerted. And every Memorial Day, we collectively pause just for a moment to remember the men and women in uniform who have paid the ultimate sacrifice. For one couple in Hazard, it is not just a moment, it's most of their day. WYMT's Connor James talked with them yesterday and shares their story.
Waving in the wind, the flag not only symbolizes our freedom, but it also solemnly reminds us of the heavy price hundreds of thousands paid to protect it. Which brings us here.
Yeah, we do High Street, yeah.
As the sun beat down Monday morning,
Just this, them flags up.
Tim and Cindy Francis crossed town.
On this route, there's probably about 30. But if we put all routes up, there's over 250.
Simply planting these flags.
So we just keep it a-going. So we got one here, I'll go get a flag.
As part of the Lions Club, they do this multiple times a year. Usually there's a larger crowd here though.
With COVID, we couldn't meet, we couldn't get things together, and so
this year,
it's just us.
As Cindy drives from stop to stop throughout Hazard,
This one's in the ground.
it's a moment of solace as each flag brightens up the city. For this duo, the meaning behind the work is deeper. Tim's dad is a veteran, and Cindy's grandfather, 4 of her uncles, and a stepbrother all served. So to them, this isn't really work.
It's underneath the ivy. Sometimes they hide. Ugh. Sometimes you're a little short. His is easy.
As Cindy drives, Tim sets out most of the flags.
yeah. And today's his birthday.
The nearly ceremonious trek does break for a little humor. And in the evening, they'll be back out here retiring these same flags until the next time.
Yeah. We'll eat in between. We'll grill out.
This action may seem small in the grand scheme of everything, but it's things like this that allow us to pause, to appreciate,
Well, pride.
and to feel.
Yeah.
After all, that moment to pause and honor is what's rooted in this day. In Hazard, Connor James, WYMT Mountain News.
In all, there are about 250 flags the club usually sets out, and they typically do this 6 times a year. They say it's just a small token of their appreciation for those who have served and a way to honor those who gave it all for this country. Even though many events were canceled this Memorial Day, people still found a way to honor those who died for our country. Camp Nelson is known for having a large ceremony in Jessamine County to honor those who fought for our country. This year, they were unable to hold the traditional ceremony. Regardless, there were still quite a few people out this Memorial Day honoring service members while wearing masks and standing several feet apart. And again, the Memorial Day looked different at many cemeteries as well. Friday, Congressman Hal Rogers visited Mill Springs National Cemetery to pay his respects. For the first time since the mid-1800s, there was not a ceremony held there for Memorial Day. But Congressman Rogers says to keep the faith and remember to honor those who gave their all.
Memorial Day falls this year in the middle of this awful epidemic, this pandemic that has swept the world, but especially the U.S. But I want people to know that we've got to have faith. We got to keep a stiff upper lip, and we'll get through this. I like that old saying from the Bible, this too shall pass, and it will.
Congressman Rogers honored Sergeant Brent Wood, who is one of only 2 African-American Medal of Honor recipients from Kentucky and the only one from Pulaski County.
Time now for our Daily Helpers and Heroes segment, where we highlight folks from across the region that are doing their part during this COVID-19 pandemic. Our first picture today is actually somebody who did their part. This week we're trying to honor some veterans who are not with us anymore. And this first picture comes to us today from Martha. This is her dad, Cletus Stevens. Cletus is not with us, as I mentioned, but he is definitely a hero in every sense of the word. Mr. Stevens is from Hueysville. He fought during the Korean War and served as a medic, so a double duty there in that war. We thank him and all the other veterans who have given their lives for this country. You can't get any more front line than that. Our next picture was submitted by Robert. This is his wife, Melissa Graydon. She works as a housekeeper at the Hazard Nursing Home with our most vulnerable during this COVID-19 pandemic. Robert says she has worked there for about a year and has an upbeat personality. Thank you, Melissa, for all you do. And finally today, our last picture comes to us from Donna. This is her niece, Tracy Lawson. Tracy's a nurse at the Hazard ER over at ARH. I know Tracy, like all of our other healthcare workers, are working hard and taking every precaution to keep this virus from spreading as much as possible, and we definitely appreciate you all. Now, I had to add this one in. When I found this story overnight, we come into an email, and this is beyond going above and beyond. So again, this is a situation that could have turned deadly quickly. This is why I preach this every single day when there's flooding. Kentucky State Police and first responders worked together to help save 2 women in Bell County after their car was caught in high water yesterday afternoon. Trooper Joey Brigman from the Harlan Post was able to reach their van before it turned over. As more responders arrived on the scene, they were able to tie rope to Brigman, who then helped both women out of the flooded vehicle to safety. Thankfully, no one was injured in the incident. Thank you to all those folks, especially Trooper Brigman, who made sure everyone went home safe. And again, please, please stay out of that water. And I'm glad this story had a happy ending. So what we just showed you and what we just told you about are just some of the stories that we've gotten from across the region. Please send us, if you have a veteran that has passed on that was in the service, we want to showcase them this week, especially with Memorial Day. And you can showcase all your frontline workers by going to WYMT.com and clicking on that Helpers and Heroes link. You can get on the webpage right there below the radar as well and click on that Add Media button to add your frontline hero. Lacey.
Thank you, Brandon. And thank you for joining us on Mountain News this morning. We'll be right back with some of today's top stories.